and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now after I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so today. We have a budget of $1.5 trillion. So what we have gotten out of NATO is nothing except to protect Europe from the Soviet Union and now Russia. I mean, we've helped them for so many years. We've never gotten anything, except we pay for NATO. And we paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills. And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease. Number one, legally it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. Those missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. So other presidents have spent, whether foolishly or not, trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO and gotten absolutely nothing in return. We've never asked for anything.
Amon Ortega is my name, and I welcome you to this very important edition. I want to believe that you're okay. I want to congratulate all of you who went and voted peacefully and you kept law and order. Kondos. Well, there is a lot to talk about, especially in our country. We have just concluded a very big exercise of choosing our leaders and the government. Interestingly, we have a new government which the people of Uganda trusted with 7 million and above, and out of 8 candidates that were vying for that very position. The NRM, National Resistance Movement presidential candidate, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, emerged as a winner, and under their theme, protecting the gains. So for the 5 years, Ugandans are going to be protecting the gains. It is very much important now to go into that very journey, and you make sure that you have gains to protect with the National Resistance Movement government for the next 5 years. 2026, 2031, where Uganda will be choosing the next government, the next leader, or the president. Apart from the president, we also, on the same day, that is 15th January 2026, Ugandans also chose their direct members of parliament and also women members of parliament. Today, as we speak this very evening, Ugandans are waiting to get the results from the National Electoral Commission about some leaders and positions that have been elected today. We are talking about city members, city mayors for Kampala and other places that were declared cities, and also later, and also LC5 chairpersons, and we're waiting to get to know who those leaders are in different parts of the country. Later this month, we're also going to be choosing the municipality mayors and also LC3 chairpersons. Early next month, I think around 3rd, we're going to be choosing the councillors and other leaders in the local councils. Thank you so very much for keeping law and order and for voting your leaders peacefully. We all need this country. Some of us have only this country we call home. It is true that there are people who have dual citizenship and they know anything can turn around and they go to another country. But for all of us that have this country as our own and only, it is very much important that we keep peace. Interestingly, in this edition, we're going to be talking politics, we're going to talk law, we're going to talk about a lot to do with legalities, especially in just concluded elections. We're looking at the highs and lows of the just concluded election period 2026. And I have a lawyer in the house who has traveled from Jinja to come through to the studios of U24 just to discuss politics and the law. And later we're going to be joined by a Pan-Africanist. But before we go into the Pan-Africanism, let's talk about the law. I'm joined by Namkobe. Charlotte is a lawyer and comes from Jinja.
Yes.
Okay. I'm still learning my Lusoga, but next time I promise to speak and welcome you in Lusoga.
Oh,
but you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Maybe to begin with, maybe for you to get something from the show, in Lusoga we greet Kodeyo.
Kodeyo.
Yeah, and then welcoming we say Tsangaide Nyabo for a lady, and then for a man, Tsangaide Sebo.
At Sangaide Nyabo. Okay, interesting. All the people in eastern Uganda there, we love you so very much. And we treasure you, and I know you love your national and public broadcaster, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, and all its channels, including U24 television. Yes, so Sangine and Kodeyo.
Thank you so very much for welcoming me and giving me this opportunity to be on this national television, to be able to share my views and to share with you about the recently concluded elections.
Did you vote?
Yes, I voted.
Where?
I voted from Jinja District, Mafubira North Division, and the village is called Kayunga. The parish is also Mafubira Parish, but the village is Kayunga, where I voted from. The polling station is called...
polling station?
It's called Chamagwa Nudge to Nudge. What's the name? Yes.
Okay. Next time I will ask, or after here I'm going to ask who you voted, but that is another question for another day.
Right.
How was the exercise at the polling station?
According to my observation, because after voting I didn't leave immediately. I spent some time there, but the exercise was peaceful, everything.
You stayed at the polling station for the entire day?
Not the entire day, like for some time.
I was going to blame a council that you violated some of the regulations that were put by Electoral Commission, that you have to vote and leave.
No, I did. Of course, I wasn't like at the polling station, but at
20 meters.
Yes, 20 meters. I had to measure. So I didn't violate any law. So I wanted to just, because to be sincere, this was my first time to vote, so I wanted to find out certain...
You were a first-time voter?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I wanted to find out how certain things are done, like not to just get rumored, but to see for myself. So, but it was very peaceful. People voted very well. At my polling station where I voted from, there was no chaos. There was no report of any crime, no campaigning at the polling station, no rigging of votes, no chaos, or maybe people wanting to cause chaos. It was peaceful.
Interesting.
Yes.
We shall come to the details of that later on. I am joined by a Pan-Africanist. Sometimes he becomes an activist, but according to some things, especially to do with Africa, when you talk about something that concerns East Africa and Africa, he becomes an activist. And when we talk about peace, keeping law and order and patriotism, he becomes a Pan-Africanist. Joining us, and most welcome to the State of Affairs, Kankwasa Junior Victor.
Thank you so much, Comrade Amon Butega. It's been long.
Indeed.
Since 2024?
Yes.
I think so. Dear viewers of U24, ABC, my name is Junior Victor Akan Sasira. Like he said, I'm a passionate patriot in the Pan-Africanist and a contestant for the East African Legislative Assembly. Yeah, we are coming to really shake the table.
Interesting.
To shape the to shape East Africa. Yes, I am really happy to be hosted, and it's our time to share ideas and shape institutions and to transform this country.
Where did the Pan-Africanists vote from?
Well, I voted from Ntinda. Ntinda.
There's a polling
Stretcher,
station at St. Joseph
Market.
Ologarama. There is a polling station at St. Luke. There's a polling station at Ntinda Primary.
Ntinda Market.
Ntinda Market.
In the market.
In the market.
In fact, that's where I voted from. I wanted to really feel that heat of the city.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. A first-time voter. I come to you, Charlotte.
Yes.
We have cases of invalid votes going up to 200-something. How did you vote? Are you sure you're not among those that had invalid votes? Did you vote properly?
Yes, I voted properly.
How can we be sure? Because people are saying that maybe those first-time voters, they were not educated on how to vote properly and correctly. And that's what we have that huge number which has not been reducing. In the past election, we had 239,918, I think, if not I'm mistaken, invalid votes. And we also had a big number of spoiled votes, going to 29,800 something. Did you vote correctly?
Okay.
And you say you are a first-time voter.
Yes.
How did you get the information that this is how you should vote?
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, I got to know of how to vote. There's because before the election, on several TV stations, radios, they were educating people on how to vote properly, not to just maybe tick up, down, middle, center, but they educated us like regularly on how to vote. So for me, since I can read and write and stuff, I used the pen. I had to tick in the box, and I had to make sure it doesn't exceed the box, it doesn't go up, and I had to tick in one box, not several boxes. Yes, that's how I can be sure that my vote was valid and not invalid. Yes.
I also trust with this kind of explanation. I want to believe that your vote was valid.
Yes.
I will come from Jinja now,
Yes.
and look at the Uganda in the general picture. How was it? How did you observe? What did you hear from your polling station to other polling station to Uganda as a counsel, as a lawyer? I know you're always inquisitive to know. That's why in your introduction you said you had to keep around the polling station that you may see what is taking place and how is the voting. What have you also observed from the other polling stations and also from the general picture that the country had?
Thank you so much. Okay, from what I observed, everything went on well, like that day. Because we didn't hear cases of people like fighting on the polling station. Maybe they have caught someone bringing in votes to add or stuff like that. Everything went on very well. And then from my observation, like what people were saying, my observation is few people voted. Because after, I asked a friend, I have a friend called Angela, she was a polling assistant. I asked her how many people voted that time. She told me 148 people voted from that polling station. 140 were ladies and only 8 were men that voted. And then I asked her what was the problem, like why didn't people turn up to vote? And then what she told me is people were fearing to come and vote because of the what? Of the heavy deployment that were made. Not knowing, maybe people feared that those people are coming to beat them. They just maybe didn't understand that these people that have been deployed have come to keep peace and order. That maybe in case of anything, they can easily help them to curb the chaos that might come around. That was what maybe scared people from voting. And then also, according to the general observation from the whole country, the number of people, the percentage of people that voted, if I remember very well, there were 52.50%, I think, that voted, and that's really like a low percentage of people that voted.
Half of the people.
Yes, half of the people.
The registered voters. Half of the number turned up to vote.
Turned up to vote.
And also another half didn't see the reason as to why they should come.
Yeah, so I think we need to inform people that since people are still voting, we still have more days of voting. People should not fear. Those army, that army that is deployed is to help them keep law and order, to help them like be peaceful, and anything that might come up to easily curb it. People should not fear to vote because of the army that is deployed at the polling stations. That was the major observation that I made.
Arkansas, why would someone fear deployment?
Well, thank you, Amon.
That you see 3 to 4 policemen and 1 UPDF, because most of the places I went, even these police officers were not armed. They only had batons for all the polling stations that I visited. And I've not heard anyone say that around the polling station, we had 2 or 3 people who had guns, unless someone can inform us online.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Even if they had guns, you who is a peaceful Uganda, looking for peace and progress in this country, you who is not planning to do anything bad, why should you be scared of someone holding a gun or putting on a uniform of police or UPDF?
Yes, thank you so much, Amon. Indeed, from what I observed from my polling station, like I told you, was that there wasn't any police officer who had a gun. Indeed, most of them had batons, and it was peaceful than it was before.
Than we ever had in history.
It was really peaceful. And if I tell you that I was in Tinda Market, if you know that stretcher, Tinda Market polling station.
One of the busiest places around.
Yes. And where I voted from, there were other 3 polling stations. From A to Z, so from A to M, that was mine, then from M to Z. Those were 3 polling stations. And maybe later on, when, in fact, when time came for counting, that's where some young people started rising, asking questions, shouting at those police officers. But then it was really calmed down. To your question, why do young people or people fear officers? I think it's attitude. You realize, you also know very well that most of the young people who demonstrate or who riot are normally used by some selfish, I may call it selfish or self-aggrandized leaders who have interest. These young people don't know the interests of some politicians, but they use them so that they can, benefit from this kind of chaos. And of course, I want to quote, these politicians benefit from the Western world. And
they are opportunists?
Yes. Some young people want, it is adolescence. Sometimes it's age. They feel that manhood. They want to be felt that they are now men and they can do something.
They are energetic.
They are
young.
energetic, yes. So sometimes I don't blame some of them because it is age. Some of them have not had civic education. Some of them have, some of them are used, and some of them, in fact, they are paid to do whatever they are doing. Maybe some of them.
I remember one day, some time back, when President Yoweri Museveni said, "Do not be deceived that you're a young man." I was once a youth.
Yes, indeed. We have always heard it from our senior mentors that they were once young people. And I remember one of my mentors, Mr. David Mafabi, who wrote an article and said, biology is not ideology. But when I questioned his article, he said, we were once young, and don't think that you will keep young.
Indeed.
And it is true. But like I told you, attitude, mindset, negative mindset towards security. Some young people don't want to see security. They don't want to see police people in uniform. And some people, they do it because of bandwagon effect. They want to see what happened in Kenya. They want to see what happened in Tanzania. They want to see what is happening in South Sudan at the moment. They want in DRC Congo. When they go on social media, they see what is happening in Iran. They see what is happening in Ukraine. They see what is happening in. They want it to happen here, which is really a wrong thinking. Uganda should be stable. Well, the only question we need to ask is a peaceful transition. When our forefathers think that it is the real time to transfer powers or to transit to other able-bodied leaders, then we shall say, let's move, but not out of demonstration or out of violence. Thank you, Amun.
When does the law come in? Charlotte,
Yes.
you said you participated in the election.
Yes.
Did you observe any irregularities or where we went outside the law? And you said this is bad. And soon, I've seen some candidates, I've seen some supporters of some candidates, I've seen members of some political parties threaten to go to court as a counsel, as a lawyer. Where did you see any irregularities that could, because we're talking about the past and want to talk about the present, in that for those that are still going for the elections that are coming at the end of the month and also early next week, and pick lessons. We're here to educate the community and the people of Uganda.
Okay, according to my observation, irregularities on side of the people or the EC or the government? Any.
Because if it is the Electoral Commission, then the electoral officials and also especially now to the district and local government will pick a lesson. If it is from the electorates themselves, someone who is watching would say, okay, this was very bad. I didn't know that this is against the laws of the land. If it is against the security officers, still we shall send a message. But let's start with the Electoral Commission, because it is the one that is responsible, is one of the stakeholders that we'll rely on, especially when it comes to elections. At least he has dealt so much with the security. I know he has been at Nari in Chankwas there. He has interacted with the security officers more often, and he will share their part and what he observed in that they will take these things seriously. What did you see from the Electoral Commission?
The Electoral Commission. What I saw, not what I saw, what I observed.
Or even heard.
Oh, okay,
It
heard.
could not have happened at the polling station, but you had it in Mbale or any other neighboring districts.
Yes. Okay, what I observed, maybe the biggest mistake that the EC would have made in the recently concluded election was, before the election, they assured people that the BVVK machine is going to be present and it's going to be used and it's going to work very well, and by that it's going to help reduce the complaints of they have cheated us, they have brought in other people to vote, because this machine, it could scan using the thumbprint. If your thumb is maybe dirty or damaged, they would scan your face. But okay, I'm not so sure if it worked in some areas.
About 15 districts where they worked.
Okay, but
out of 100 plus districts in the country.
Okay, but in very many districts, actually, even me where I voted from, the voting was a little bit delayed because the BBVK machine failed to work. Yet the EC had promised people that this machine is really going to work. They had promised people that it's going to be working offline. It does not need internet or any line or something like that. And then this, I think that's where most people, maybe those people who were not able to get the highest number of votes, they are using this channel to say that they have cheated them, the elections were not fair, yet the elections were very fair. But this, the BBVK machines failing to work, it has given some people a chance to come up and start saying that the elections were not free and fair. For me, that's my observation, that I see that it was really a mistake, because people are really going to cling on that. And if you really look at their argument, some point you can say maybe they are true, because why did this machine fail to work, like on the very first day?
But also the Electoral Commission says this was one, but it does not mean that the entire process was illegitimate, because it was one of the things that would help in the Electoral Commission, because later on, I think I voted from it was at 9:10 when they declared that we should use the normal registers. And you would come with either your voter
slip,
or national ID,
yes.
And they will check you.
Sounds like you're describing a breakdown in the biometric verification.
Apologies for that. They will check in the register. You'd find your name,
yes,
your photograph, where you're voting from, your village, and then if they respond to your national ID or your voter card, voter slip, then you'd go ahead and vote.
Yes, that's very true. But as I said, the people who didn't score as they expected, they're now using this as a channel to disturb the courts and the country that the election was not free and fair. Yet it was, because the registers were there to be used. But they are using this as a channel to complain, to say they didn't work. So in that, they cheated them, because these machines didn't work after them being promised to work.
What is your stand, Junior, on this?
Well,
it's not the first time, by the way, these machines have failed. I think in Kenya they also failed.
True.
Even in the USA, they had reports about these biometric voter verification machines failing. Do you think this was intentional? That in so many districts, 90 plus districts, we did not see any of these machines work?
Indeed true. I agree with the council. I participated in the 2021 election, and I was the polling presiding officer of they call the first district, Kiruhura, at some primary, is it in Shwedenpango primary, Chabajeni primary school, where one of the historicals, 0RO27,
General Fred Mwesige
is a Kano, Kano retired.
Yes, Kano retired.
Ambassador now, Tanzania, Fred Mwesige votes from Anderwenduru, the former MP. The machines we had by then really worked. They worked, but the roles they were playing were not the roles that these ones were going to play. And yeah, it is indeed unfortunate that the BVVK machines of this particular election didn't work as we had anticipated. we are in the 21st century. The world is not going backwards. And remember, most young people, we are in the generation where young people they are advanced in terms of technology, and we really expected a new move. And of course, apart from them working, the budget alone, over 500 plus billions spent on the machines that didn't work. It is a very big loss. But nevertheless, that did not stop Ugandans from voting. Because whoever had a national ID and was in the register was able to vote. Whoever had a voter slip was in the register at a particular polling station was able to vote. Even though you didn't have the national ID and you had a soft copy or a photocopy of your national ID. You see? Yeah. You don't have the original national ID, but you have the soft copy or photocopy or a scan. You don't have your, as far as you are...
Anything to identify you.
Yes. Okay. Even if you didn't have it, at least I was there. Even if you didn't have any document, but you appear, because the registers have your face. We are able to see this is a Kansasra and is the same Kansasra in the register. You were allowed to vote.
Interestingly, where I voted from also, there was a gentleman who was just behind me, just next to me, and he had written his name on his thumb, in his palm. And I was like, this is my name. You check if I'm in the register, I will vote. If I'm not there, I will accept that I'm not registered. And indeed, they went ahead and cross-checked, and the gentleman was there.
Yes. So it is I think it should not be a matter of discussion that somebody lost because of the machines. Maybe if there is something else that we don't know.
That was her observation. What is something that we would say someone could front and say, I was not able to go through on this position because of ABCD, that you could have observed in different places of this country? That we can tell and pick lessons from that are going forward, especially in the upcoming elections that we're having, local council elections, or even in 2031, because elections have not stopped in 2026. Where do we need to improve? Victor.
Thank you, Amon. A lot has been improved. Number one, civic education is very important. You know, a country of the majority young people who are ignorant of the law and ignorant of the electoral processes is a country in darkness. Where you find a country of over 40-something millions, and half of them, not even a half, I think, not even a half of them were able to turn up to vote. It is it's a very big question.
10 million registered voters did not show up.
Just imagine. It's a very big loss, and we must.
They registered, they showed interest that they are willing to come through and vote.
But they didn't turn up.
But they did not turn up.
So it's something we need to do research on and then find the solution. Number two, internet. In fact, we are calling it internet lockdown. The other one was COVID lockdown, but this one was internet lockdown.
Not shut down.
No, not shut down. I want us to work on the diction. Internet lockdown. When the UCC in the announced that
2 days before the polls.
Yes.
I think internet was shut down
on Tuesday.
On Tuesday around 6 or 3?
At 6.
At 6. So we pushed up to the next, was it after elections?
Yeah.
So when it was now brought back, everyone said, hey, welcome from lockdown. Welcome from lockdown. Remember, most of the people had gone, it was a public holiday,
Yeah.
and most people had gone home. So it was a serious break. And in the century where you find internet, in fact, most young people, in fact, we agree that over 80% of Ugandans who are in entrepreneurship, who are in the money economy, are depending on the internet. Though I'm happy that the inflation has reduced, now it is around the 3,004 something. Government has, I appreciate government for ensuring that they've really reduced the inflation, on the inflation and the, but that does not mean that people will not cry.
Okay.
That does not mean, when, for example, in fact, I think the machines didn't work because of internet.
But they said they do
They
not
had
operate
promised
on
it's
internet.
going to work offline.
But
Okay.
it didn't work. So that's
You
an
come from
issue.
a Pan-African world. With all that we are talking about, what happened during the elections and what still happened, and as we still choose leaders, especially in local government, do you think African elections still suffer from credibility defects? And what does this image show to the global image of Africa, especially Africa choosing their own leaders?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that good question. As young Pan-Africanists, that's what we must advocate for, that we must diversify and accept that we are in a new norm, we are in a new trend, that our leaders must accept that they must move with us, with our generation. Indeed, it is true. Yes, we've had great Pan-Africans who have advocated for independence, an independent Africa, a United States of Africa. But then, if, for example, you have Uganda, which is peaceful, you have Kenya, which is not peaceful. Okay, you have the East African community, but some East African countries are at war. Just imagine recently, you have had reports from South Sudan, where I was 2 years back. Right now, the rebel group has grabbed 3 states. What does that mean? You know very well that South Sudan has had a couple of years without holding elections. So do you talk of democracy?
Okay.
It's a very big question.
Okay.
You saw what happened in Tanzania. Just in the wee hours of the elections, young people on the streets. What are you expecting from Kenya? The same question. What about the other West African countries? They are coup after coup after coup. That's why leaders are not, they are saying to hell with elections, to hell with democracy.
What are some of your reforms or recommendations you give, especially on institutions? Because most of the times these flops come from the institutions that are responsible for conducting such activities.
Well, there are a couple of reforms.
As I'll come to council also on
It's okay.
what she suggests, especially on reforms that are urgently needed after we went into the polls to shape the next generation and also in the future.
Well, there is need for electoral and democratic financing, because you realize that electoral commission was complaining that the budget they had was not enough to run a couple of activities. So I think indeed that's why most young people were not able to, to understand. I was surprised that some of the polling stations had invalid votes. invalid votes. And these invalid votes were caused by young people, not these old people that we think. That
How sure are you?
I'm very sure. Because most of the old people were using the thumb. And the thumbs were rightly placed. But these and just imagine the urban polling stations, you don't expect many old people. So financing, the budget for the EC has to be raised. Number two, young people must be involved and engaged in most of these systems, most of these programs. Because for us, we are normally, young people are normally engaged at the time of maybe participation, not at policy making.
Okay. But you have representatives. We have a National Youth Council. We have members of parliament representing the youth. You have structures from the LC1 up to the national level.
Amon, how
and
many?
These all structures are all included in
Amon, how many young people do we have in this country?
You have members of parliament in the parliament where the policies are made.
Look at the most recent UBO statistics. We are over 50%. But we are represented by only 5. One from every region.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Did you want what makes to go in the parliament? You are the same as workers also who have 5. Let me bring in Council. Council, any reforms?
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and my reforms will not so much differ from what my comrade has said. We need to really
I want those most urgent after this election.
After this election.
That you say this can't wait. We should start with this reform.
Exactly. We should straight away start involving the youth in the country matters. Because if we bring in these people at the time of the elections, some of them will not be bothered. Some of them will just say because they want us to vote for them, that's why they are now starting to engage us. But we really need to involve them in everything, like most of the country matters. We tell them how policies are made, why certain decisions are made, why certain things are done the way they are done in the country. Because some of us, you just, okay, I may be able to follow and know why certain things are done, but there's a youth there in Jinja who just makes his chapatis. He doesn't know why certain things are made. They just hear rumors from maybe even some politicians who are not in support of the policies, and they give them poison. So the country has to really come up with something that is going to help the youths be involved in the policy making of the country straight away for these 5 years, so that by the time we reach the next election, the youths are able to understand certain things.
That's why we involve the youth on the state of affairs, and also this station is so much agitating and also promoting the youth affairs and youth issues. It was a privilege having you, gentleman and a lady, the state of affairs tonight on U24 television. Time is fast spent. I would request your parting shots and closing remarks. Let me start with you, Junior.
Yes, thank you so much, Amon. I want to appreciate UBC management for creating such spaces for young people like us to discuss issues of national importance and issues of East Africa and Africa. Indeed, nothing for us without us. When you engage us, involve us in policy issues, research, and national development, this country will be stable. Thank you, Amon.
Councillor Charlotte.
Okay, thank you so much. I also want to, first of all, thank the government for giving us such opportunities, for allowing us to engage in certain discussions, discussing the government, discussing the elections, and to give our views on what happened in the elections, and to also give what our dissatisfactions in the elections, so that we help our government to improve where there are loopholes. I also want to thank the administration of UBC for giving us this chance to come and discuss matters of national importance. Thank you so much.
We also appreciate that you created time to come through and talk to the people of Uganda, especially your fellow youth. And from me and the entire team, Tyson on the camera, Mosh on the computer, our producer, our manager, Ivan Tumkunde, and of course our executive producers from the managing director of UBC, Mr. Dagava, our DMD, Morris Magisha, and the entire team at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. It is a privilege to have you, and of course you, our dear listener. We're always here because you know that you're always there watching. This program is on all our social media platforms, U24X, that is Twitter, and of course our TikTok, and most importantly, on our YouTube channel. It is important that you go there and follow this conversation, but also remember to subscribe. Nampaira Amanotega is my name. Thank you, Victor and Charlotte, for making time to come through on the state of affairs. Until next time, same session, same program. For God and my country, Nampaira Amanotega. Allow me to sign out. It's a good night.